Hey guys, all right, I am really fired up to get to carving this thing. So we've got all the layout done. You guys saw that. We got everything pretty much ready to go. I've got the profile bit in, set at about 1/8 of an inch. I'm gonna do the tiny letters first. Those are always the most difficult, so I'm gonna get those going first. That is it. We're gonna, I'm just gonna set up, put my cheaters on, come back, and we'll start carving. Okay guys, well, as you can see, I didn't mention before, but I'm definitely wearing my mask since I'm cutting, oh shoot, I forgot the middle of the E. I'll go back and get that. Because I'm cutting through resin, of course. So I'm doing these little letters first. I backed it off a little bit, so I'm only about 1/16, but even in some spots, I've lifted the router base a little bit when it has to get pretty narrow. Not so much on these, but especially on these Old English or whatever font that is. So we'll come back and we'll get on to carving. I have to be really careful. As you can see, my hand is starting to pick up some of that stuff. So I've got to be really careful that I don't smear which I'm already starting to do. You can see that here. So I think what I'm going to do, guys, is I think I'm going to go ahead and cover it with packing tape and then come back and then start carving again. And you guys can watch me carve through that packing tape. Okay guys, so here's what I've tried. You can see in this area I carved a little bit more, but rather than covering this thing with packing tape, what I decided to try is just moving these papers down so my hands are sitting on these papers. I think what's causing that stuff to smear more than anything else is just my body oils, and it's kind of warm out here, so it's kind of sweaty. So I think that's what's causing it to smear more than anything else. You can see there's a little trace of black on these papers, but not much, and I would rather do that and just have to move these papers down as I'm carving rather than covering the whole thing in packing tape and actually having to carve through the tape. So we have a new camera person on the other side right now. My adopted granddaughter, Jasmine. Say hi, Jasmine.
Hi. Hi.
That's Jasmine. Vicki had to run to town to get her hair done. So I'm on my own, and I'm going to take advantage of having my granddaughters around. So I am going to go ahead and get back to carving the I think those are Old English, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, I'm going to get back to carving those. Here we go. Let me turn my lights on. All right, let's give it a shot. Okay guys, so here is what we've got so far. I started cutting the little block letters there, and then I dropped down to the real intricate letters. So far I really like the way this is cutting. It's carving really super easy. So far, I'm glad I'm wearing my mask. I can smell the resin a little bit, but not really any issues so far at all. So what I'm going to do is I am going to finish up all these little letters off camera, and then when I come back, all the little letters will be done, and we'll move on to the big letters. So, you guys are probably wondering why the getup. So it's early in the morning out here right now, what?
8:30?
8:30, something like that, so it's not too hot yet. But it is fly season and there are flies everywhere. So I decided to take my same theory as when I was fishing in Alaska. This is actually what I was wearing when I was fishing on the river in Alaska, that if I can cover up as much of my body as possible, then I won't feel the flies crawling all over me, and I won't ruin my sign, which I came close to when I was in a tank top and shorts, and I'm, you know, swatting flies with a power tool that's on in your hand. Let me just say it's probably not the best idea. And sometimes I forget that because I'm so comfortable with that thing in my hand. I forget that it's a power tool, and I actually, like, the bit came down and hit over here. Fortunately, it's fixable. I can deal with it. But anyway, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reposition the sign. We've got all the little letters done. I'm going to reposition the sign, and then I'm going to do some of those big letters. Those should be fairly easy as compared to these small ones. And by the way, cutting through this resin is cake. Man, it's just, I don't feel the grain of the wood. But obviously I'm cutting wood, but it's consistent with my profile bit, at least with the profile bit. Cutting through this resin is just easy to do. So the trick with these little letters is there's a lot of inside sharp corners, especially on these block letters, and so I have to kind of lift my router bit a little bit in order to try and get tight in some of those sharp corners. But not that big a deal. Anyway, all right, so we'll be right back and we'll get started on the big letters. All right, folks, well, again, we're going long, so we're going to have to push this over to another video. I got all the detail done on all those small letters, and was some pretty tricky stuff in there with the sharp corners and the points and stuff, so it was kind of tricky. It was kind of long and time-consuming, and I thought you guys would like to see most of that, so I didn't, you know, cut a bunch of that out. I thought you guys would like to see that. So anyway, we're traveling over to another video. We might get it done all on the next one, but it may take another one after that, depending on how that goes. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, eric@makeawoodsign.com, or I'm on Instagram, Make-A-Wood-Sign. I'm on Pinterest now, Make-A-Wood-Sign. There's the channel, there's the website if you need any supplies. That is about it. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, we'd love for you to subscribe and click that little bell icon. Anyway, guys, thanks again so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.